This is at L6A, headquarters station of the New Zealand Association of Radio Transmitters, with the official broadcast for June 2013. Tonight, highlights from NZART Masterton Conference, presidential comment, headquarters news, and on the international scene,
UK hams may soon lose access to several UHF bands, and Major Edwin Armstrong is to be honoured by his hometown.
Yes, that and more on tonight's NZART official broadcast. Good evening, everyone. Presenting the broadcast, I'm Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF in Nelson. First up tonight, we look at key points from the recent Masterton Conference activities. From the Friday Council meeting, Council has elected Stuart Watchman, ZL2TW, as NZART Vice President for the next 2 years. Council has formed a small finance subcommittee to critically review major expenditure of the association. Subscriptions for 2014 will be the same as for this year, with the exception of overseas member subscription, which will be increased to a rate of $125. The call book for 2013 will only be produced on CD-ROM. The Council-initiated 70-centimetre band plan review has reached the stage where a draft band plan has been produced. Doug ZL2TAR from FimTag has been asked to provide input on the engineering issues. The NZART website is in for a redesign. A specification or design brief is being produced. Volunteers with good web design skills are required. Council are looking at a new strategic plan for the association. Phil ZL3PAH gave a conceptual PowerPoint presentation at the AGM. NZART officers visited the Friday Council meeting. Don Wallace, ZL2TLL, our Administration Liaison Officer, has John Yildwin, ZL4JY, as his deputy. Mike Newman, ZL1BNB, our Local Body Liaison Officer, will have Douglas Burt, ZL1BFS, assisting him with the LBLO work. Peter Lake, ZL2AZ, provided Council with an update on international matters in his role as a Director of Region 3. Terry Carroll, ZL3QL, stood in for John Lockhead, ZL4QS, our IARU Liaison Officer. ZL4QS has decided to stand down as IARU LO for health reasons. Don Wallace, ZL2TLL, has agreed to take on this important role for the association. Jeff Sayer, ZL4JS, and his AREC management team also visited the Council meeting. NZART have set out their expectations of AREC for the next year. NZART are pleased with the progress that AREC is making. To the annual general meeting, Peter Lake, ZL2AZ, was awarded life membership of NZART in recognition of all the work he has undertaken as a past NZART councillor, IARU representative and IARU Region 3 director. Remits, and there was only one remit this year. It was from Manawatu, Branch 20. After some discussion with delegates supporting and opposing the remit, a request to conduct a vote count was made. After the vote count, the remit was declared lost, with 1,219 against and 411 for the remit. President ZL1TGC announced a special posthumous presentation to Roy Simon, ZL2KH, in recognition of his long service to NZART and unique sense of humour. Frank Hunt, ZL2BR, received the plaque and will present this to Jill Simon, Roy's widow. With the recent resignation of 2 Central Region councillors, NZART Council has been approached by 4 members who are keen to consider these positions. ZL1TGC advised the meeting that once these people have the opportunity to review the requirements of being a councillor, Council would consider who the most suitable candidate would be and advise the membership who had been appointed. Vice President Stewart, ZL2TW, announced the winner of the Stirrers Award, which went to Mike Barnes, ZL3TMB. At the Sunday night dinner, it was announced that Sharon Dawson, Managing Director of ICOM New Zealand, had passed the amateur radio examination that afternoon. Sharon has been allocated the call sign ZL1TJU, which belonged to her late father, Dave Dawson. Look for a detailed report on conference activity in your next issue of Break-In. Right now on the broadcast, it's over to NZART President Vaughan Henderson, ZL1TGC, for his monthly update. Vaughan?
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to WARO Branch 46 and the great job done by their conference committee team led by David, ZL2BA. We all enjoyed the conference over Queen's Birthday weekend with good food, good weather and good company. A full report on the conference proceedings and social activities will be in the next issue of Break-In. While on the subject of conference, I don't yet have a confirmed venue for our 2014 conference, but I've had some interest from 2 branches in the South Island, so I hope to be able to let you know next month where we will be for Queen's Birthday weekend in 2014. As many of you will have seen from Headquarters Info Line, and as announced at conference, we have 2 vacancies on council for the Central Electoral District. I've had expressions of interest from 4 amateurs, but if there's anyone else who would like to put their hand up, please don't hesitate to let me know. ZL1TGC@nzart.org.nz will get me via email. At the council meeting on Monday of Queen's Birthday weekend, further discussion took place on how best to hold the monthly council meeting. Traditionally, this has been on air, on 80 metres. However, the high noise level experienced by many councillors while trying to take part in the on-air net has made it difficult for everyone to hear. As a result, a trial using Skype was successfully conducted mid-June, and we will be using Skype for the July council meeting. I'm aware that many of you like to listen to the council net, and using Skype prevents that. However, there's a confidential matter to be discussed at our July council meeting, so Skype will enable us to deal with that. My thanks to those amateurs who have come forward and offered to help with an update and revision of our website. I'm working on a specification to define what we want, including a members-only section, and will report back to you once that's in place. Also at Monday's council meeting, we took the opportunity to discuss with the 2 Wireless Institute of Australia representatives possible changes to the 40-metre band plan arising from changes made in Region 1. The WIA have formed a subcommittee to work on this, but as of our Monday meeting in Masterton, nothing had yet been agreed to. It seems to me that if the WIA are going to make changes to their 40-metre band plan, we should look to follow and probably adopt those where appropriate. There will be more to come on this subject in coming months. We also took time to discuss with Peter Freeman, VK3PF, who's the editor of the WIA magazine Amateur Radio, the progress they were making on moving towards having an electronic copy of their magazine. Like us, they are moving somewhat cautiously in this direction, as having a significant number of members take up an electronic-only subscription does have an impact on the cost of producing the printed copy. An overhead incurred with distributing an electronic copy is the cost of download bandwidth from our ISP. I'll keep you informed of our progress on this one. Council meeting minutes. Once Council has approved these at our July meeting, the minutes from the February face-to-face meeting in Wellington, as well as the minutes of the Friday and Monday Council meetings in Masterton, will be available on the NZART website. My apologies for the delay in getting the February face-to-face minutes out. Coming up next weekend, that's the 6th and 7th of July, is a contest which has great significance to NZART and its members. I'm talking about the Memorial Contest, held each year to commemorate those New Zealand amateur radio operators who lost their lives in World War II. This is a very enjoyable 80-metre only contest and runs from 2000 to 2300 on Saturday the 6th and again on Sunday the 7th. I hope as many of you as possible will try and take part in memory of those silent keys from World War II. The rules can be found on the NZART website and were updated for this year in early May. There's a link to this contest from the front page of our website, so the rules are not too hard to find. I plan to be on for this contest, family commitments permitting, and I hope that many of you will also make the effort to take part. Well, that's it from me this month. Thanks everyone for listening, and back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Vaughan. The President of NZART, Vaughan Henderson, ZL1TGC. The Franklin Amateur Radio Club will be holding their annual sale in their clubrooms, Stadium Drive, Pukekohe, on the 16th of July, starting at 7:30 sharp. Vendors should arrange their offerings in suitable sized lots. You can let the sales conductor know the minimum price you're prepared to accept. Buyers can purchase by cash or run an account to be settled at the end of the sale. Following the sale, there'll be a complimentary supper and tea or coffee. That's the Franklin Amateur Radio Club annual sale on the evening of 16th of July, 7:30 sharp. Onwards to Upper Hutt now, and it's a very good evening to NZART Business Manager, Debby Morgan, ZL2DL.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. Well, I hope you're all warm and staying indoors as much as possible. After last week's storms, I wasn't even sure where headquarters was going to end up. In all my winters, I can honestly say I have never experienced winds like that here in Wellington. On to business. Many of you may have received the 2 special issues of HQ Infoline. One was sent out by your president, Vaughan, for Fred, ZL2AMJ, as a right of reply, advised by Vaughan at the AGM. The other was sent out by Mike Newman, the local government liaison officer, on behalf of Hamilton branch. The latter is very urgent, as any submissions need to be in to the Hamilton City Council by Tuesday, the 2nd of July. So if you wish to make a submission and miss this issue, please either contact me or Phil King, ZL1PK. Lastly, I am taking some midwinter leave from Friday, the 5th of July to Tuesday, the 22nd of July. So if you have any urgent queries, please contact your regional NZART counsellor. For any urgent inquiries regarding call sign allocations or examinations, please contact Warren Harris, ZL2AJ. That's all from me, Jim. Back to you.
Thank you, Debbie. Debbie Morgan, ZL2DL, our NZART Business Manager. For a look now at amateur radio news on the international scene, we join Newsline's Jeff Clark, K8JAC.
UK telecommunications regulator Ofcom has published a notice of proposed rules making in which Great Britain is called a consultation. In this case, relating to amateur use of the 2310 to 2450 and 3400 to 3475 megahertz bands. According to the consultation document, these frequencies are within and adjacent to spectrum planned for release by the Ministry of Defence, or MOD. The Ministry intends to free up 40 megs of spectrum between 2350 and 2390 megahertz and an additional 150 megahertz from 3410 to 3600 megahertz for new civil uses. The technical and regulatory aspects of this release will be subject of another consultation in the future. But in advance of this, Ofcom is looking at proposals to make changes to the United Kingdom amateur radio license for these bands. According to Ofcom, it's likely that the released Ministry of Defence spectrum will be used for wireless broadband using 4G long-term evolution, or LTE, advanced technology. Based on its technical analysis, Ofcom believes that the impact and likelihood of harmful interference being caused by amateur users to new users in the 2350 to 2390 and 3410 to 3600 meg spectrum is sufficiently severe to preclude continued amateur radio use following the reallocation taking place. Ofcom is also looking at proposals for the adjacent bands at 2310 to 2350, 2390 to 2400, 3400 to 3410 megahertz. In those cases, Ofcom's current thinking is that amateurs should continue to be granted access to these adjacent bands, although with additional terms in the license which amend the current terms of access to these bands. Continued access will be on the basis that interference may not be caused to new and existing uses in this release, and adjacent bands that no protection from interference from those new users can be expected. UK hams have until July 22nd to file in response to the consultation on this matter. It took nearly 60 years after his death, but the inventor of FM radio has finally been recognized on the street where he lived. Amateur Radio Newsline's Bill Pasternak, WA6ITF, has details.
On Monday, June 17th, city officials of Yonkers, New York, joined with radio enthusiasts to unveil a new plaque honoring Major Edwin Armstrong. This for his numerous accomplishments in the area of radio communications. The bronze plaque in Hudson Fulton Park is just a block away from the site of Armstrong's home on Warburton Avenue. It overlooks the Hudson River and across to the unique tower that Armstrong built in the nearby town of Alpine, New Jersey back in 1937 through 1938. The plaque was the brainchild of Steve Close. He is a New Jersey resident who learned of Armstrong because of their shared interest in motorcycles. Close became fascinated by Armstrong's story and led a fundraising campaign that generated more than $4,000 in contributions that paid for the plaque. Yonkers Mayor Mike Spiro and several city council members were on hand at the ceremony. They were joined by two of Armstrong's descendants. The ceremony was also broadcast live on WA2XM WMN. That's the Experimental Armstrong Memorial Station that transmits on the old 42.8 megahertz frequency from Armstrong's Tower over in Alpine, New Jersey. For the Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Bill Pasternak, WA6ITF. I'm 3,000 miles away in the newsroom in Los Angeles.
This plaque may not be the last commemoration of Armstrong in his native Yonkers. City officials are now working to get a replica made of a bust of Armstrong, now on display at Columbia University. There's also a discussion ongoing of renaming part of Warburton Avenue in Major Armstrong's honor. For now, with Bill Pasternak, WA6ITF at the editor's desk, I'm Jeff Clark, K8JAC, saying 73, and we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2013, all rights reserved.
Thanks, guys, and as always, we say thank you to Newsline for the use of their copyright material. It's time now for WARO News, and it's a very good evening to Rosmary, ZL1RO.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. Well, following the WARO AGM, we have some changes in office bearers this year. Welcome to Kathy, ZL2ADK as President, Marlene, ZL1MYL as Vice President, and Val, ZL2FO as Secretary. There's a vacancy for one more committee member. WARO is looking for a volunteer to fill in the position of Contest Manager for the annual Selma Super Memorial Contest. Any member who may be interested could contact any WARO exec member at their address found inside the front cover of any bulletin magazine. The results of the Selma Super Memorial Contest were announced at the WARO AGM, and the first YL was Val ZL2FO, with Jeanette ZL3DYL second and Nairi ZL2UJT third. In the OM section, the winner was Doug ZL1BFS, with Wayne ZL2AYB second and Bill ZL2AIA third. On the 10th of June, President Kathy ZL2ADK travelled to Wanganui Branch 48 to present Val ZL2FO with the Selma Super Memorial Contest trophy for winning this year's contest. Many thanks to Wanganui Branch for their hospitality on the night. Congratulations go to Norma ZL1ANP, who has been awarded a WARO 50-year membership certificate, and Bev ZL3OV, who was awarded a 30 years membership of WARO certificate. Bev ZL1OS has begun work on the next bulletin, but it'll be a few weeks yet until it arrives, as she has family coming from overseas, and family must come first. We continue to be grateful for all the effort that Bev puts into our magazine. That's all for this month, Jim. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Rosmary. Reporting for WARO, Rosmary Boshier, ZL1RO. The Hamilton Amateur Radio Club Branch 12 will be holding their market day at the Waikato Table Tennis Stadium, Edgecombe Street in Hamilton, on Saturday, the 17th of August 2013. Selling commences at 10 a.m. Finally, in tonight's official broadcast lineup, it's Branch News. Here's Stephen McNeill, ZL4HG.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. The Auckland VHF Group has its next meeting on Monday, the 8th of July, starting 7:30 p.m. at the club rooms in Hazel Avenue. The topic is getting on the microwave bands. The next meeting of the Hutt Valley Branch 18 NZART will be held on Monday, July the 1st at the club rooms in Philip Evan Reserve, starting 7:30 p.m. This will be a quiz night, and as is traditional, prizes are awarded not necessarily for the correct answer. And just a reminder too that the next Old Timers meeting will be held on Wednesday the 24th of July, starting 1:30 p.m. Wellington Amateur Radio Club Branch 50 has an unusual topic for its next meeting on Wednesday the 17th of July. It will be one long Nosh and Natter event. Nelson Amateur Radio Club Branch 26 has its next meeting on Wednesday, July the 17th, involving a presentation on automotive lithium-ion batteries by Jared and Sean from Tasman Auto Electrics. The club also has its midwinter dinner with a Christmas theme to be held at the Tahuna Function Centre, which is on 70 Beach Road in Nelson. The date is Saturday the 20th of July. Now the club needs to know numbers in advance, so if you want to attend, please contact Jim ZL2BHF or Topsy ZL2LS by Sunday the 14th of July at the latest. contact details in the newsletter. The North Canterbury Amateur Radio Club, Branch 68, is having a midwinter dinner on Sunday the 21st of July at noon at the Gardens Restaurant, 110 Marshlands Road. Details are in your newsletter, but remember to let Don ZL3 DMC know if you're attending. Christchurch Branch 05 has their next and, well, probably their final meeting on Wednesday the 3rd of July starting 7:30 p.m. at the club rooms on 27 Galbraith Avenue in Avonside. Now it's going to be a nostalgia night. Gareth ZL3 VP is putting together a slideshow of the club over the years to remind everyone what they've got up to. There'll be supper and drinks supplied as the club celebrates 50 years on the site. Everyone is welcome. Okay, that's all from me. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Stephen. Stephen McNeill, ZL4HG, reporting from Christchurch. The next issue of NZART Headquarters Info Line will be emailed on Friday the 5th of July. Remember, you can subscribe for your copy of this bulletin of news on the NZART webpage at www.nzart.org.nz. The next official broadcast of NZART will be made by ZL6A at 8 p.m. on Sunday the 28th of July. This is ZL6A, headquarters station of the New Zealand Association of Radio Transmitters, concluding the official broadcast for June 2013. Good night, everyone. Good night now.